video will talk about some interesting facts we found in our interview with the Terrorism John. And please enjoy. Thank you.
Was invited because I had done work like with government before, so all levels of government. Had worked with DOD, so Department of Defence on Pitt Street, working on learning systems, so LMS systems. For our soldiers in with the last wars that we've been fighting in the Middle East, and I got invited to a lot of the security forums, and I was invited to a few roles. So I do have a directorship at Global Risk in London, also directorship with SEC in DEF, which means security, intelligence and defence. So this is a company, an organisation that is managed in Tel Aviv and with the American government, and occupying throughout the different parts of Americas, and also throughout Europe and also parts of Asia. And I represent Australia and New Zealand. So what I do is basically I give an analysis, so risk analysis, more it's cyber terrorism. So before I got into cyber security, but I'm finding there's a lot more work in cyber terrorism. So you need to know about cyber terrorism strategies and things like that. At saying so, you've got to be analytical and holistic. So you look at the whole spectrum as, when I look at things holistically, I look at things as nations and their actions and their reactions. So I always think of, every action has a possible, has an opposite reaction. It seems to be the Newton theory that's so appropriate to this industry. But it's about communication. It's about trust. It's about communicating with your allies, seeing what people that aren't your allies, and I guess what the enemy is, doing in their next plan. It's about strategy, thinking things, well ahead. But as I said, it's trying to work out who's disruptive and who's not. So there's this term that we use, weapon of mass, not destruction, but distraction. So because who can distract the most? So a lot of and it's also about being ethical, and ethical means knowing what is good from bad, what is within the law, and laws keep on changing. So I always find that the law will catch up with the criminal. So and I think that there'll be always cold cases. So there will also be cold cases in terms of digital corruption, terrorism, and and so forth. The opportunity lies, especially with cyber terrorism and I guess with like cyber terrorism and cyber security. It's about relationships with different countries. So we know, being an Italian Chamber of Commerce member, and we are in connection with the Australian government and the Italian government chamber, it's not just about the business, but other trade relationships. So I know everyone, when they think of Italy, they think of Ferraris, they think of, a lot of other fashion, they think of Milan and all these other things, but there's much more than the culture itself. They don't think of the defence capability. when they think of Italy and Australia. Italy design and develop many range of defence systems for Australia.
Wow.
Not many people knew that. Australia create a lot of firearms for the US. So in that space, Italy's also done defence helicopters for India. So the connection there is, what is the capability of trade? So what are you trading? You're trading things for civilians, for military, for government, or for private sector. Stuff that's public companies, privately held companies. So many things there within commerce and law and everything else that's there. So I guess that, going back to your question, I see there's a very big possibility with Australia and China, an opportunity there. So Commonwealth Bank, I know that with cyber security, there is already an established connection with Hong Kong. So being a Chinese national and connected with the Commonwealth Bank, there definitely will be possibilities in future. I think I get personal satisfaction knowing that I'm a good force, and I'm working towards something where if I'm advising the government and other key players in security, the security of not only the entities that you protect and the bodies that you protect, and the corporate sector, the corporal, because that corporate means, an embodiment of different people. I think the personal satisfaction I get is that when I rest and I go to bed, I know that I've saved some part of the world, and it's very heart movement. I think it's heart moving. It's very noble. I think maybe I got that from my grandfather. I think because he was a very noble man as a soldier in North Africa, and I think it's something. I don't know whether you require the act of being noble, or is it something that you're born with? I think it's a bit of both. I think that if you have it around you, you think of the greater good. You're not negative, you're not vindictive. You're thinking, how can I look at the betterment of man? So looking at the, making the human person better. I think that is something, maybe it is on a spiritual level. Some of the good stuff that I've done, I know that I helped a lot of soldiers in Australia to protect this nation. I didn't only do it to protect the soldiers, but I also did it to protect my family that were here. Looking at some sort of international peace type thing. Even what's happening now with North Korea and America, I see very good things there. I can see, it would be really nice if we did have peace. I think this would be a good thing. But it's not just a matter of keeping the peace, but being resilient and showing respect too. Because what I think is disrespectful is using data or intelligence as a way of saying, if we don't go this way, it's like a blackmail to get that peace. You can't get peace out of blackmail. Peace is from something that is innocent and is not corrupted. And every nation has been corrupted. But if we have less corruption
Yes.
and more peace, more talking,
Yes.
and tell me the truth. Hate me today,
Yeah.
but love me tomorrow. We all bleed, you know. You cut me, it's red blood.
Yeah.
You get cut, red blood too.
Yes.
We are all human. We all cry. We all, it's a, we all suffer. But we're all happy. We all, we all show human emotion. And I think if you have that data, I think that's something that you can really look at. I think when you've got data on people, it's how you control it. Make the right decision, make an executive decision, but also make sure that what you use that data for, make sure that it prevails and actually helps with the legal system,
Yeah.
but also brings out the truth.
Yes.
If they are mean, can they change? Can you change a mean entity? If they are a good entity or a bad entity, can entities change over time? Do they stay the same? I think every generation wants to learn from bad mistakes, but I think we should all look for future and trade. I believe trading is the solution to many conflicts and wars. What is happening right now is the World War III that we are happening
Yeah.
is all digital.
Yeah.
So it's a war of words and it's a digital war. So people aren't dying, but data is being breached. And I think this is the World War III. We all thought the World War III would be all about nukes.
Yeah.
But it's not about the nukes. It's not about the nuclear arms race. Some of it is, but most of it is about, how Google can tap into countries, how Telstra can also operate in different countries. So looking at the Fortune 500 companies and how they can tap into other parts of the world. So who own the Fortune 500 companies? Well, I know that PwC manage and audits at least 490 or 470 of them, but also have a look at who's behind things. So the top performing company in the Fortune 500 is the Bank of China. So the world knows that. So that opportunity, we know that the world knows that by working and liaising with China, this will create a strong economy not only for their own countries, but for the world, and it's for the people.